Welcome to Financial Statement Analysis. I'm Jeff Colton and I'm running FSA this term. In this video, I'll explain how the course will run, how you'll be assessed, and where you'll be able to find course information and course materials. And we'll give you an introduction to the course content. I'm very much looking forward to getting back into an actual classroom with you next week. It's been a very strange year. Each week, you'll see a short video that provides an overview of the week's content. I'll also provide you with lecture notes and additional readings in advance of each seminar. I expect you to look at this material prior to class. You'll usually get some problems or exercises to complete before class. The preparation work will directly relate to the in-class exercises that we'll do. Here's how we currently anticipate using the seminar time. We'll start off by a quick recap of the week's main content. Here, I'm going to be guided by you. Once you've looked at the notes and readings, I really want you to tell me what parts of the course material you felt the least confident with, so we can focus on that during our scheduled class time. Each week, you can do that by filling out a quick survey after looking at the materials. We'll then do some applied or practical tasks that should help you better understand the week's contents. Often, this will have a data analytics focus. One thing I really want you to get from the course is a greater capacity to analyze data. Your potential employers keep telling us that this is a key skill for graduating students, and financial statement analysis is an obvious course to learn and practice these skills. So we'll be looking at databases and pushing stuff about in Excel. The second thing I wanted to cover was course assessment. This is all available in the course outline and also on the course Moodle page. Assessment will cover a few components: what you do in class, a midterm quiz, a major project, and a final exam. I'll quickly go through each. Course participation is worth 15%. This involves asking sensible questions in class or being active in class discussions. I'm particularly keen for you to let us know your past work experience, how that's relevant to the course material that we're covering. The major assignment or project will have you undertaking a complete analysis and valuation of a listed company. It doesn't have to be listed on the ASX. Overseas companies are fine. I'll help you form groups and discuss suitable companies with you next week. There are 3 written deliverables as well as a group presentation in the last class. The 3 deliverables mean that you're working on the project throughout the term, and also that you get regular feedback that you can incorporate into the final report. I'll show you in class next week how successful past teams have been with their investment recommendations. The analyst report is worth 30% of your overall grade. I'll put up on Moodle some past examples of reports that have scored really well in previous years from the course. In Class 5, we'll have a short quiz that will test your knowledge of materials that we cover in class in the first 4 weeks. You'll do this quiz on your laptop, so it's effectively going to be an open book exam. The final assessment component is the final exam. This will be done in class in week 12. I'll give you more information in Class 1 and throughout the semester. It will be a practical application of the course material we cover and will involve some calculations. It will involve an analysis of an actual company. I'll post past prior exams from semesters in the course Moodle page so you can see the sorts of tasks that you might be facing. This is a course that is closely tied to business events, so I'll always try to incorporate current events. We'll refer to these in our weekly videos or incorporate them into the lecture notes. To do well in the course, you should also be paying attention to current business events. This is especially so at the moment. A key part of this course involves forecasting. It's probably fair to say that this is one of the hardest forecasting environments that I've seen since I've been involved in teaching this type of course. We'll pay particular attention to the potential forecasting and valuation impacts of the coronavirus during the course. It obviously increases the level of uncertainty. We'll think about how to deal with that and incorporate that into our reports. The next thing I wanted to cover was the course content. Business Analysis and Valuation, or FSA, focuses on the analysis of financial information found primarily but not exclusively in the financial reports of firms. Fundamental analysis techniques are examined in detail. We have a particular emphasis on the application of these techniques in equity or share valuation decisions. Attention is also given to credit assessment and financial distress prediction. The course takes a structured approach to our analytical tasks. We systematically go through 4 key analytical steps. The order of these is important. We begin with business analysis. In short, this requires us to ask, how does the business make money and what are the prospects for it making money in the future? This step covers both industry analysis and how a firm positions itself within the industry. This first step will give us a sense of what we expect to see when we look at the numbers. You'll see this illustrated in the first additional reading posted from Fortune magazine on Moodle. The financial statements, or a company's key ratios that we calculate from the financial statements, won't make sense without having the context of the conditions in which the business operates. We ask these sorts of questions. Are sales seasonal or cyclical? What drives demand for the product or service? Is the business capital intensive or people intensive? Are the assets of the business long term and do they get replaced regularly? Is the business attractive to lenders who could provide debt financing? These questions lead to our second analytical step, accounting analysis. Our key question here is examining the extent to which the financial statements do a good or bad job of reflecting the underlying business economics. This is a function of how well the accounting rules allow a business to reflect its performance, and the extent to which the rules provide managers with discretion in their accounting decisions. Once we have an understanding of how the business makes money and the extent to which that is reflected in the financial statements, we commence our financial analysis. This is our third analytical step and involves the systematic assessment of recent financial performance. We typically start with an overall measure of performance like return on equity. Our final analytical task is prospective analysis. This involves taking everything we know about the business, its accounting, and its recent performance, and trying to predict the future, as reflected in the financial statements. We can then use these forecasts in a variety of contexts. A particularly important context is valuing the firm's equity. Our primary approach in this course is equity valuation, but we also cover asset or enterprise valuation. We will then see how these 4 analytical steps can be applied in a variety of contexts: investment management, credit analysis, and the analysis of mergers and acquisitions. The next thing I wanted to mention were the 2 main databases that we will use to obtain financial statement information in the course. The first is the FactSet database. If you were enrolled in the course a few weeks back, then you should have hopefully received an email from FactSet delivered to your UNSW email address with your account details. We will be making use of FactSet throughout the term. It provides a lot of information about listed companies. The other database we will use is Morningstar's data analysis database. You access this through the UNSW library webpage. It also contains financial statement and other information about listed companies. Data analysis focuses on Australian and New Zealand companies. We will have a brief look at both of these databases during our scheduled seminar time next week. Make sure you've been able to log on to FactSet beforehand so you can follow along. Finally, we'll be looking at one company in detail throughout the term as we progress through our analytical steps. This term, we're using Kathmandu. They're an outdoor clothing and equipment retailer. They've recently bought into Oboz, a US-based footwear company, and last year bought the surfwear company Rip Curl. It's obviously an interesting time for retailing, so we'll be thinking carefully about industry conditions and the implications that these conditions have on Kathmandu's accounting, and particularly our forecast for Kathmandu's future financial performance. If you're able to visit a shopping mall, see if you can find a Kathmandu store. Have a look at what they sell, and have a look at the way in which they sell it. Are things heavily marked down at the moment? Have a look at their website. One of the things that we're going to be considering is the shifting between sales from physical stores to online sales. We'll keep track of Kathmandu information in a dedicated section on Moodle. As we progressively analyse Kathmandu, you should be able to apply the same lens to the company that you are examining for the major project. We really want your regular feedback so that this course is as useful to you as it can possibly be. It's a course that we think is really practical, and I think it's a fun course to teach. There's a bit of strategy, a bit of accounting, a bit of finance, some valuation, and it's all tied together using real-world companies and examples. I really hope you enjoy it. So, for next week's class, have a look at the notes, have a look at the readings, and try and get hold of the FactSet database if you've been sent the email, and have a look at data analysis if you don't. I'm really looking forward to meeting you all next Tuesday.